Welcome to Kaywon Action Star. It's great to have you back here. So let's get right into it. The movie starts in a high-security prison where Officer Green is preparing to deliver money to a high-profile inmate named Bellin. Even though Bellin is in prison, he has a special arrangement. He lives in a separate cell with personal guards and luxury items. From this cell, he continues to control his vast criminal empire, including drug trafficking, human trafficking, and arms dealing. Surprisingly, Bellin chooses to stay in prison because it is the safest place for him, keeping him beyond the reach of his enemies. In the next scene, new prisoners are brought into the same building as Bellin, one of whom is Jack, a former police officer accused of killing another officer and robbing a bank. Before Jack can be placed in his cell, Officer Green stops him, slaps him several times, and scolds him for betraying the police force, warning him that he won't last long in prison. The story flashes back to a week earlier, revealing that Jack and a few fellow officers had staged a bank robbery. However, this wasn't an ordinary heist. Their goal was to gather evidence against Bellin and corrupt officials running a criminal operation from within the prison. After securing incriminating documents from the bank's lockers, they attempted to escape, but other officers ambushed them. In the resulting shootout, Jack's entire team was killed, leaving him as the only survivor. Desperate, he fled into a nearby building, pursued by officers. One officer finally confronted him, threatening his life. Jack recognized this officer as one of the people responsible for his wife's murder. Enraged, Jack tackled him off the rooftop, killing the officer instantly in the fall. However, Jack miraculously survived. Wounded but determined, he left the stolen evidence at the apartment of Trisha, a journalist, and shared details of the corruption involving government officials and Bellin. He instructed her to take the evidence to the district attorney's office. Back in the present, Jack is now sharing a cell with another inmate named Silva. During lunch, a group of prisoners demand protection money from Jack. Their leader, Semyon, who happens to be Bellin's cousin, warns Jack to pay up. However, Jack refuses, stating that he won't be intimidated. Enraged, Semyon and his men attack him, but Jack fights back, ultimately causing Semyon to be caught by the guards and thrown into solitary confinement. Later, Jack is transferred to a secure cell, where he communicates with Bellin through security cameras. Bellin warns him to stay out of his business, threatening that if he doesn't, he will meet the same fate as his wife. However, Jack refuses to be intimidated. That night, 3 of Bellin's men sneak into his cell to kill him, but Jack overpowers them without even waking his cellmate, Silva. Meanwhile, Trisha continues her investigation and uncovers more details about Jack's true identity. Determined to expose the corruption, Trisha heads to the district attorney's office. However, the receptionist tells her that the attorney is busy and suggests she leave the evidence with his assistant, Mark. Suspicious of Mark, Trisha decides to leave without handing over the documents, opting to reschedule the meeting. Later, she waits outside until the district attorney, Johnson, finally steps out. She approaches him, explaining that she has damning evidence linking government officials and police officers to organized crime. Johnson listens carefully and gives her his business card, advising her to contact him if she needs further assistance. Meanwhile, Jack receives an unexpected visitor. In prison, William, a middle-aged inmate who warns him about Bellin's men. William advises Jack to be cautious, given what happened with Semyon, but Jack confidently replies that he isn't afraid. Curious, he asks William about Bellin's cell, but William explains that its location is a closely guarded secret, known only to a select few prison officials. In another part of the prison, a fight breaks out between 2 female inmates. Guards intervene, breaking up the brawl, and one of the fighters, Elena, is taken to Bellin. With her head covered, she is brought before him, where Semyon and other prisoners are also present. It is revealed that Semyon and his men have been collecting protection money without Bellin's approval. As for Elena, she is in trouble for attacking one of Bellin's favorite female prisoners. As a display of power, Bellin places a $100,000 bounty on Jack's head, offering the reward to any prisoner who eliminates him. Soon after, a group of inmates attack Jack while he is talking with William, but Jack and William skillfully fight them off. Meanwhile, Bellin receives a call from District Attorney Johnson, warning him that Trisha has evidence against him. Furious, Bellin orders Johnson to silence her and sets a plan in motion to have Jack killed by the end of the day. Later, while Jack is doing laundry, a group of corrupt prison guards arrive to claim Bellin's reward. They attack him with batons, but Jack fights back, taking them down one by one. As he leaves, another group of prisoners surrounds him, ready to claim the bounty. However, Jack reasons with them, pointing out that if they split the reward, it wouldn't be worth the risk. His argument convinces them, and they walk away. Meanwhile, Trisha visits her friend Allison and confides in her about the evidence she has gathered. She explains that Belen is not only running the prison but also controlling powerful officials outside. Meanwhile, Elena approaches Belen's favorite female prisoner, Kat, and apologizes for their earlier fight. However, Kat isn't interested and punches Elena. Feigning unconsciousness, Elena is taken to the prison doctor. Once the doctor leaves, she unlocks her handcuffs with a hidden paperclip, steals medical supplies, and hides them in William's cleaning bucket. Elena sneaks into the ventilation system, navigating through air ducts to locate the CCTV room. After drawing a map of the prison's layout, she finally finds the room and, with William's help, begins executing their plan. Meanwhile, Trisha visits Jack again, revealing that she has uncovered his true motives. She asks why he killed the officer, and Jack explains that Belen's men murdered his wife, and the officer he killed was part of the conspiracy. Jack soon learns that William isn't a real prisoner. He is actually an undercover officer sent to expose Belen and the corrupt officials working with him. William reveals that Elena is also working with him, gathering crucial evidence hidden within the prison. Before they can discuss further, a group of prisoners attack them. Jack is thrown into solitary confinement, while William is summoned by Warden Blaine, who demands a higher bribe to allow him to continue his undercover work. Trisha attempts to meet Johnson again, but the receptionist tells her he is still unavailable. Mark approaches her, once again urging her to hand over the evidence, but she remains wary. Meanwhile, Belen is temporarily released from his cell to meet his daughter. Seeing this, William signals Elena to proceed with their plan. As Belen exits the visiting area, William unlocks Jack's solitary cell, setting him free. Jack knocks out a guard and disguises himself in a stolen uniform. At the same time, Elena escapes through the ventilation system as chaos erupts in the prison. William releases all prisoners from their cells, leading to riots. Guards are overpowered, and Officer Green, attempting to flee, is thrown into the mob by Jack. As the FBI regains control of the prison, order is gradually restored. The surviving prisoners, many of whom had been caught up in Belen's corrupt system, are rounded up and returned to their cells. Some, like Semyon, are placed in solitary confinement, while others who had fought against the corruption are separated for further questioning. Jack, exhausted and injured from his battle with Belen, leans against the cold prison walls, catching his breath. William and Elena approach him, their expressions a mixture of relief and admiration. William places a reassuring hand on Jack's shoulder, commending him for his resilience and for helping bring down one of the most dangerous criminal networks operating from within the prison system. Soon after, a team of FBI agents arrives, securing the prison's high-profile targets. Warden Blaine, who had secretly profited from Belen's operations, is arrested along with several corrupt officers who had been on Belen's payroll. Outside the prison, news reports begin flooding the media, revealing the extent of the corruption that had infiltrated both law enforcement and government ranks. Journalists report that the evidence Trisha gathered has led to multiple arrests, including high-ranking officials who had been protecting Belen's empire from the outside. Meanwhile, Jack, still officially a prisoner, is taken into custody by the FBI. However, William assures him that his role in exposing the corruption will not go unnoticed. He promises that Jack's case will be reviewed and that he will likely be released soon. As Jack is escorted through the prison's gates, he takes one last look at the place where he had fought for his survival, not just against criminals but against the very system that was meant to uphold justice. His journey had started as one of revenge, but it had turned into something greater, the dismantling of an empire that had thrived on fear and corruption. Elena, now standing beside William, watches him go, knowing that their fight had made a difference. Though the battle was over, they both understood that their mission against corruption wasn't finished. As the prison gates close behind Jack, he steps into the awaiting FBI vehicle, unsure of what the future holds, but knowing that, for the first time in a long while, he has hope. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to this channel for more if you haven't done that yet. And put down your comments below to let me know what you think about the turn of events in this storyline. Also give my video a thumbs up to further motivate me. Share too for others to enjoy. And see you on my next recap. Cheers.